Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. We are here with our second glorious episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hello.
And this week we'll be discussing the horror classic, You're Next. You know it, don't you?
I'd never heard of this damn movie before I saw it on the list.
What list are we looking at? Tell our audience.
I'm still reflecting back to the Seattle Museum of Popular Culture. They had a list of the top 100 horror movies from like all over the world.
Right. It was like chronological. So they felt this was like, I mean, they liked this one. It came out in 2011, but actually wasn't released until 2013 for some bizarre reason.
It had like an 80s vibe for me for some reason.
It kind of.
Are we using some reason for some reason like 40 times now in this episode?
That's my plan. Get ready.
It's the phrase that pays.
Every time I say, for some reason, drink is how we're doing it. This was one of the a number of films that came out about this time that deal with home invasion, strange people wearing strange masks. A couple years earlier, there was a movie called The Strangers.
I was going to ask you about that because the first thing that popped in my mind, I'm like, is this just a ripoff of The Strangers?
I just think it was a popular thing at the time. It's like, here are these...
The Purge. Yeah, just random people show up and to cause terror.
But it's got, no apparent reason, and you're at home. You think you're safe, but guess again.
That's
no
right.
Can do. I have to tell you, I wrote literally pages of notes reading this, watching this.
Oh my God. I had the opposite reaction. I had written pages of notes on the Babadook. And here I have 2 pages like complaining about she just had sex, but she still has a thick layer of lip gloss on.
Well, maybe they don't. You saw
notes.
Pretty Woman. No kissing. No kissing. So we open up in the scene with an older gentleman and a shockingly younger lady with him, right?
Who is not?
No, she had kind of a sour face. It was very upsetting. Yeah. So then she goes downstairs after they do their business and starts playing music. But what does she see? She's seeing something. She's hearing something. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah. There's some sounds outside. By the way, she pours a screwdriver. So I'm like, is this the 70s?
Well, but it was like a smoothie.
The last time somebody had a screwdriver.
Well, maybe it was in a blender.
Don't drink. It was orange juice.
Do you blend a screwdriver traditionally? Yes.
It was a blender.
Anyway, this is neither here nor there. This is not important. So, smash cut to the older gentleman. I'm going to refer to him as an older gentleman. Coming out of the shower, can't find his lady, and then notices something is painted on the sliding glass door, right? And it's and notices the dead body. Now her corpse is just on the ground. And, camera pulls back and it says, "You're next," written in huge letters on the outside of the door, meaning somebody from the street would be able to read it. It'll be backwards from his position. And then he's promptly...
Right. Someone had to write it backwards.
And he was promptly killed. Boom. And I kept thinking to myself, this is a lot of effort to do all this Your Next stuff for somebody who you're going to kill in 2 seconds. And then, not to mention, you're hoping, what if they catch me painting this for 5 minutes? You know what I mean? It's like, hope he stays in the shower.
You know what I thought was funny is every time we see You're Next, they always remember to include the
apostrophe
or the apostrophe. Because frankly, most people I know skip it when you're just writing a letter. But it's good to know that the grammar is alive and well with your
That is
psychopath.
True.
Let's take the time and make sure that people don't think you're ignorant. Let's put
that is correct. That is correct.
I actually wrote that down twice.
But the guy who, the assailant is wearing some kind of a mask. I think it happens a little too quickly for me to see. Although it did the guy's sitting there going, "Oh, no," as the guy slowly raises up the machete. At some point, you could probably fight back. Maybe.
I mean, what you got to lose? You're going to die, or try something.
Give it a shot.
I don't know.
I mean, what do you got to lose at that stage of the game?
Really, it happened so fast. It was all bang, bang. And I was like, I didn't even have time to even care about these people. Quite frankly, I thought it was like a father-daughter creepy molestino
it was
thing
something.
going on. But it was like boom, boom. She had a sour face, and it was over. I don't know who these people are. You didn't even see her.
No,
get
you
killed,
didn't. She's
so,
killed off camera.
Whatever.
Boom. Smash cut to now. There are cars driving on the road. It's an older couple. The mother is a personal favorite. Her name's Barbara Crampton, and she was in Reanimator, From Beyond, and of course, Castle Freak.
I knew I recognized that.
Yeah, she looked good.
She looked good.
And her husband, he was actually in a bunch of Farrelly Brothers movies back in the early 90s.
He looked like some kind of ham bone. Why did I recognize him? What was he in?
He definitely was in Kingpin.
Exactly. All right, Kevin. Now you failed me.
So it's an all-star cast, is what we were saying. I know he's in a few others, though. I could do some research if I was so inclined, but I'm not going to. Yeah, we get it.
Kingpin's good enough. I've heard of that movie.
So they're driving up.
Yeah.
They go, oh, and then we cut to, they're passing by the first house. Oh, our only neighbor's up here. Remember, he left his wife for a college co-ed? I'm like, okay, thank goodness. Now we understand that, really.
We randomly had to say who the one neighbor is in the super rich yet suspiciously way out in the wilderness property is. We're so isolated,
and yet no phones.
Full electricity,
so that's a little
and Wi-Fi.
reveal coming up. So okay, clearly not.
Nobody has phones though.
Yeah, I do have a house phone. I am old.
Do you
school.
have a house phone? Oh, yeah, you got a house phone.
So there's that couple, and then another couple. There's the guy who looks like Robert Kirkman. If you ever watched the Walking Dead, Talking Dead show, he's the guy who created The Walking Dead. So he's kind of a round, bearded gentleman, and his Australian girlfriend, who are on their way. I know she seemed very concerned about how much money his family was worth, and isn't it crazy how rich you are? Ba ba ba. So interesting. Is it a coincidence?
Her name is Erin. Let me just throw that out there.
We're
very similar, I feel.
So they arrive at essentially the folks who have retired. He got some huge severance package from the defense company that he used to work for. And he bought this palatial estate to kind of fix it up in his retirement. And I guess they're going to have their anniversary.
Which is so... Okay, I'm sorry. I got to jump in here. It is so ridiculous. It's clearly...
not at all.
The inside and the outside don't match. They clearly shot two different houses, one interior, one exterior. It's clearly not a fixer-upper. It is a frickin' mansion. Although in the movie, it appears to only have 2 rooms, a kitchen and a living room. Except, I mean... they were penny pinches at this point. But I want to jump in and give you my alternative title for this film. Strangers Meet the Melendez
You mean the Menendez brothers? I don't know.
Do you like that?
Who are the Melendez?
Oh, yeah,
we
Menendez.
Can't answer that.
Who are the We can't. The Menendez brothers meet the strangers. But let me just tell you. The first half of this movie, I was like, oh, this looks like schlocky 80s horror. I'm like, I was like bored to tears. But now I was listening to Joe Bob's Briggs, and he's telling me that the 80s is considered the golden age of horror movies.
Clearly.
For the younger generations.
I'll take...
Oh, my Lord.
This is...
We have
there's a few generations that separate us, sad to say. So, anywho, let me just say, I agree with you about how from the outside, this is clearly a 100-room mansion, and from the inside, it's like basically a studio apartment. It's like, what is going on? There's a lot of we'll check the building. They'd be gone for 45 minutes if they checked the building. No, we'll be upstairs, please. So there's one scene where the mom is like, I heard somebody upstairs. Let's get out of here, honey. Let's get in the car and drive away. And the dad's...
The chandelier is swinging from people running around with army boots. And the dad's like, I'll take this old walking stick and just go see what's up there. I'm like,
ridiculous.
What the hell? I'm going outside calling the popo. Get in the car or I'm leaving.
There have been many occasions where you're like, did I hear something? Maybe I should go check it out. Versus your wife crying in the corner, like, please, let's leave. I'm not going upstairs.
Literally.
Yes.
They get there. The front door is open. Red flag. Now I hear footsteps. It's not just your wife's hearing things.
That's exactly
right. We have things leading up. I mean, that kind of added to my 80s nonsensical stuff where it's like you see all these patterns and everybody's like, don't. There
were definitely scenes where like, either they are lousy actors or they're in on it. I had that thought go in my brain a few times, or both. They should be a lot more afraid.
Or both,
by what's happening in the course of the story than they seem to be. There's a lot of people kind of going off on their own. Hey, we'll just leave mom in the room by herself. There were moments in this movie, in typical, like you said, 80s horror movie fashion, where people are like, oh, let's split up. Or it's like, I'm going to leave the mom in the bed crying. Oh, we're going to leave Brother Blake behind a curtain and hope no one notices, kind of stuff. It made no sense at all.
Oh, how about when, oh my God, we have literally jumped to the middle of the movie without discussing anything that happened at first.
Well, I'm speaking very in generalities.
Yeah. I mean, there were parts like at one point when the sister or the sister-in-law, I don't even know who she was, decided she was going to make a run for it. And you're in a mansion, so you decide to run out the front door right where the people were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because it's a 50-room mansion. Why not? I mean, you could literally have someone climb out, running it in 20 different directions. Somebody's got to get free, right?
Oh, totally. So we're going to get into some spoilery stuff.
Oh, no.
So
it's all spoil all the time.
It's spoil town. This is more spoiled than those figs on Aaron's counter. So
poor figs. I haven't asked that lady for any more figs after that. I'm too ashamed.
So the two couples, the one couple is revealed the son is the son of the older couple, essentially. And the rest of the family's coming the next day for an anniversary party. Okay. So the next day, the older brother Blake and his crazy wife Kelly arrive. And then later, you see Amy, the younger daughter, and her boyfriend Tariq.
Oh, the director.
Well, there was a couple directors in this, actually. And then the youngest son, Dexter, and his bizarre girlfriend, Z-E-E.
And
so write that down.
Had the best line in the whole movie, which I will discuss later.
So they all come in, and you can see there's some friction going on. Basically, can I jump in and say that they all had bizarre names? Yeah. Like the central male character's name was Crispian, which
like Crispin Glover.
Is it Caspian? I mean,
it's Prince Caspian.
Look, I live in Orange County, and we see some crazy white names. These take the cake, I got to tell you. So, anywho. So there's some friction going on. Evidently, older brother Blake used to pick on younger brother Crispian, while Amy's like, no one ever believes in me. And Dexter just sits there brooding in the corner.
I thought it was just our family at Thanksgiving. What do you mean?
The mom is popping pills. There's all sorts of crazy stuff going on here. While they're arguing at the dinner table, Tariq seems to notice something out the window. He gets up in the middle of the chaos, looks out the window, pow, takes a crossbow bolt right to the eyeball.
Boom.
Very sad. And people don't notice it first. And when they do, they all get up and start running around. And I kept thinking, maybe get away from the windows, maybe get down. I don't know. And of course, no one does.
Move into one of the other 45,000 rooms in this palatial mansion. Oh, I forgot. It's only like a studio.
So Blake takes the crossbow bolt in the back as well. And finally, everyone gets down. Finally. Oh, my God. What's going on? What's going on? What's her name? Erin, the Australian chick, later revealed to have been raised by survivalists in the outback, quickly springs into action and starts, closing curtains, locking doors, closing windows. People are like, what's going on? She's so smart, as if locking the doors is like, how did she ever figure that out? Who would have thought?
Close the curtains so people can't see in that are trying to kill us? Ooh.
Amazing.
How about let's try to use our cell phones and call Popo. No one even bothered to try to call the police for like 20 minutes in.
Well, that's when they revealed that there's a blocker or a jammer. Their cell phones don't work. And again, I was asking, so no one has a landline in this old place. Okay, I'm old school maybe. Okay, I'm used to having a rotary dial, get in there, Klondike 5628,
Klondike.
operator.
Is this the Ricardo residence?
That's what I'm used to, okay? But then again, like I said, this is that moment where I'm like, no one seems that afraid. A few people are like Kelly, the wife, or Blake's wife is screaming. There's a few people who are just kind of like eerily calm. And I'm like, are they bad actors or is something going on? And this is a serious question. So they argue about who's going to run for the car.
Which is a ridiculous
and finally, the youngest
idea.
Sister.
It's a ridiculous idea.
Yes.
These people
somebody in the woods.
I mean, someone's in the woods. I mean, Kevin, you and I were raised with zombie movies. We know we need to fortify. We need to seal doors. We need to seal windows. We need to get weapons. Come on. None of these people. If you see zombies, you're not going to run through them. If sharks are in the water, you don't
not
swim
run out
towards the shark.
to the.
You don't chum the waters. I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life. This is where I started getting frustrated with the movie.
She wants to run for the cars, which we all know is madness, right?
Of course.
This is the younger sister, Amy, spelled Aimee. They're all very creative.
Oh Lord.
And
maybe the children got to name themselves. Maybe the actors got to name themselves.
The best part was how the two brothers were arguing about who was faster. The one dude has like an arrow sticking out his back. I'm still faster than you. You were fat when we were growing up. As they're arguing, arrows zinging overhead. So they agree to let her do it. Their plan is they're gonna count to 3. She's gonna run for her life. They're gonna fling the door open, and then she'll go get help, theoretically, or make it to the car.
Ridiculous.
Not great planning. Of course, our heroine, Erin from Australia, is saying, "This is no good idea, mate." I don't know if that's a good Australian accent. That's as good as it gets.
Oh my God! Look. Is it the EastEnders? What is that?
It's something.
Is it Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins?
Pretty much. Mary Poppins. So they fling open the door. She runs, and of course, she is nearly decapitated because there seems to be like a piano wire or something that has been hung over the entrance, and it's exactly at throat level. So
a petite young woman throat level. Everybody else, the guys, it would have hit him dead in the chest.
Yeah, it only would have killed her. It was specially made. So I don't know. Were they listening? Maybe they planned it just right. Have the wire. Maybe they did some measurements. It's hard to. Were they eyeballing it? Who knows?
Writing? Who knows?
So she quickly bleeds to death. And again, there's a handful of people who are like, really don't seem that upset about this. What's the story here? So. This part, I start to run out of steam. So what happens? Yeah. The mom gets hysterical. So they put her in a bed upstairs by herself.
Yeah.
And then a dude jumps out wearing a fox mask and a machete. She screams. He kills her. They go, oh, my God, what's happening? Somebody's screaming upstairs. So they run upstairs to find, now she's dead. Oh, why did we leave her alone? And then they quickly walk out the door.
Yeah, good question. These
are good.
what did they give Mom? Some of that bourbon? Because I know if people are actively trying to get into my house and are killing all my family members, the first thing I want to do is probably not take a nap.
Well, she didn't have a heart attack. Okay, there is at least one killer on the loose. Maybe let's not split up. That's a reoccurring theme in this movie. So they quickly leave.
That's what I'm thinking about the 80s. It's where it's literally they're going to do all the ding dong stuff. Let's all split up. Let's all run in 100 different directions.
Right.
Let's let's
Very
take
upsetting.
a nap during the melee.
I'm going to go tell you, she just needs a rest with a murderer on the loose. So they leave the room, except, of course, Blake's wife, Kelly, who stays back for reasons not fully clear. And she's like, I'm going to look under the bed. Maybe there's something under here.
Myself. For
by
sure.
Myself.
Let's wait till everyone leaves. They're downstairs. And I'm going to linger back and I'm going to go look for the killer.
This is a lose-lose proposition. Okay? There's no upside. Okay? The best that can happen is, there's nothing under the bed. Congratulations. There's nothing gained from that. Right? The worst case scenario is there's the killer under the bed who's going to kill you now. So she sees the foxhead dude and runs screaming from the house. Runs screaming. Everyone just lets her go. Okay, see ya. Even her husband, I guess he did try to chase after her, but he got the quiver, the crossbow bolt, bangs on the crazy wire, and he passes out.
That was a little bit funny.
Little madcap. But again, she's allowed to just run off by herself. Okay, so then she goes to the neighbor's house. Oh God, I have to jump back for a second. This just opened my mind. Earlier in the movie, Australian girl goes to the mom and says, "Hey, is there anything I can do to help, Governor?" And she says, "No, I've got it. On second thought, run to our neighbors and get some milk."
Which is like a quarter mile away.
And I think my question would have been like a cup? Or are you looking for the full gallon? I mean, I don't know. Are we baking something that requires milk?
That's right. Half and half, heavy whipping cream.
What are you looking for exactly?
Do we still do that? I mean, our mom used to go to the McCarthy's and borrow an egg. Do people still do that? I cannot tell you I have any memory of living on my own and getting a knock on the door from a neighbor.
I don't have an issue with borrowing a cup of sugar, but if you the moment it starts saying I'm going to wheel my shopping cart into your kitchen, then it's a whole different story. So she goes down there and sees the older gentleman from behind sitting on the couch, but does not answer the door, basically, right? The music's still playing.
I don't know what that terrible music was either.
So she does not get any milk. So I hope it wasn't necessary for the recipe, whatever the case may be. But so now Kelly runs to the same house, bangs on the door, let me in, let me in. We know he's dead. She turns around. There's the crazy lamb-faced killer. Punches her in the face through the sliding glass door. I think this is the same sliding glass door where it said "You're next" earlier in the movie.
I guess they washed that off.
Yeah. So what was the point then? Right? At the end of the day,
what
was
the
point?
"You're next" was upstairs.
I don't think so. I was downstairs because remember he came down looking for his wife.
Blacked it out. I think if she had not gone to that house, she would have gotten away. But I guess
maybe so.
That's why they went to the house. I'm guessing.
There you go. So then the lamb-faced guy pulls out, I don't know, it's an axe. It's some kind of thing. And promptly kills her. Boom. She's dead. So we're running out of people. They're dropping like flies as we go. So she's gone. Cut back to the main house. People are like, oh, it's very sad. We're going to put Blake's passed out body behind this curtain over here. Hope no one has a problem with that. Then later, Crispian, I'm going to love saying that name. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to go too. I'm out of here. I'm going to go check the cars. Hey, I'm going to run and get help. See ya. Aaron saying, please don't go. You don't need to go.
He's so brave, and his mean brother was so mean to him.
Yep, it's very sad. It's the nice brother.
Yeah, he didn't do so much while he was out there. I couldn't even figure. I checked one car, but it wasn't working. So I figured all the cars are bad.
Oh, pretty much. So he bails, and Erin starts fortifying the house. She's going down into the the basement to look for tools and stuff. The father goes, "Hey, I'm going to check out this whole house, find out what's going on." And he's looking around. He discovers a closet where there's like a sleeping bag,
a jar
candy
of
wrappers,
urine.
a jar of urine because you don't want to leave DNA, evidently. If you take a piss in the can, then, CSI Miami is going to check it out and be able to determine, the crazy tiger face dude, yeah, he was Joe Schmo because he pissed in the toilet. But who knows? I'm not a scientist.
Dad not only has to pick it up, I mean, you couldn't tell it was a jar of pee. You thought it was Mountain Dew. He's literally picks it up, holds it up to the light, examines it. I mean, was he testing for a UTI? What was he doing?
He was sniffing the cork. I mean, he was all over the map on this bad boy. So quickly he's like, "Oh, they've been here for days. This is very strange." Yeah, and as he's telling
2 water bottles, a jacket, and a small water bottle with pee in it. So he was able to determine 1 water bottle a day, half a cup of pee a day, I guess. Ridiculous.
A doctor would recommend more water, I think, in that situation. So he goes and tells Dexter and Z, they must have been here for days. And then immediately the fox-faced killer pops up behind him and slits his throat with the machete. Spoiler alert, Dexter and Z, not bothered by it because they're in on it.
This is where it finally started to get a little bit interesting.
Now we get it. So Dexter, who is, he's the youngest son, and his wacky, gothy girlfriend both were in on this. And he even says, "Why'd you do that right in front of me? I thought I paid you guys to handle this. What's going on?" Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Now we know. Twist.
Now we know. Twist, twist, twist. Earlier in the movie, I realized I skipped over. The lion, or the tiger face dude, jumped in the window with an axe and tried to kill Erin, but she used, some Aikido, some Kung Fu, and bashed his head in
with a meat tenderizer.
Meat tenderizer, blam, blam, blam. Dexter and Z look on and do nothing. That was the first signal, like, maybe they're not on the level. I'm like, really? No one's going to help?
Oh, yeah. She crushed him down to like a steak tartare. There were nothing left. She was swinging to kill. Yep. I'm like, I'm not even sure if I could put that athletic ability if someone really was coming through, because she was like full crazed, whacking him in the head till there's nothing left.
Yep. Oh, yeah. So we realized
she weighs about 98 pounds. She looks like she's about 5 feet tall.
Yeah, she's 5 feet 98. It's very upsetting because we start to figure out, okay, so Dexter and his girlfriend Z hired these 3 guys who evidently were in the service together. What service would that be? I'm assuming the military, but it could have been, I don't know, something. Some other service.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service?
It could have been at this stage of the game. So hired them because he wants his inheritance now rather than later, I guess.
And now we have the Menendez connection.
The Menendezes. So now we know that Dexter and Z are in on it, and Erin's still in the other part of the house kind of doing things. She starts pounding nails.
She's MacGyver in it.
She's doing some it's Home Alone. She's doing some full Home Alone action in here. She's pounding nails into boards, putting them right next to the door, so that later when the lamb-faced dude tries to climb in the window, he sees those boards with nails and scoffs. I had the subtitles on, so it said like scoffs when he sees the first. And of course he steps down onto the nails that he didn't notice. Bam! So now it's right through his foot. He's not happy.
We gotta sign up for some of that Aussie training, man. When the shit goes, sorry me. When the biz goes down, we need to be prepared.
You got to be prepared. So now it is just, but Erin doesn't know yet. Basically, she's still kind of like, oh, we're all in this together. But then what happens? She's hiding at one point because who was after him? She was hiding behind a curtain. And earlier, she told everybody, it's like, yes, we may not have cell service, but if you dial 911, that somehow the signal still gets across or something along those lines.
It sends like a message out. I've never heard this nonsense before in my life.
That's something. I hope it's real, because next time there's a home invasion, we may be in trouble.
I'm hammering the nails into the wood right now.
Exactly. So she's hiding behind the bushes, or hiding behind a curtain, when she realizes that Dexter's talking to the killers and how they're in on it. Blake had already been killed later because Dexter stabbed him himself, his own brother, with a variety of garden, leather working instruments. I don't know what they were.
Just die already. Die.
This is hard enough for me as it is already.
Yeah, why you gotta make it so hard on me? I gotta kill you, brother. Oh, yeah. It is.
Oh, I have to tell you, one of the favorite scenes is Dexter is sitting on the bed with his dead mother, right nearby. He's very upset because he thought, it's obviously going wrong. He thought this would be quick and easy, and there are problems. And his crazy girlfriend Z proceeds to try to mount him, and he's like, "This is my dead mother right here." She's like, "You don't want to do anything fun." And he's like, "I don't think that's a fair assessment."
She's like, "This is the best line. I want to F you next to your dead mom." He's like,
yeah.
He's literally leaning back across his mom's body. Yeah. I was like, what the hell?
Well, he has some standards, evidently.
Not much.
Not much. So when she's hiding behind the curtain, the phone rings saying, "Yes, 911, we've received your blah, blah, blah. We're coming to investigate." But it beeps because I'm the only person who leaves their phone on vibrate, evidently. So the crazy Fox man's like, I'll take care of it. I'll get her. So he goes upstairs. She pops him in the face, again, using some judo, something. Runs upstairs. He chases her with the machete, and she throws herself out the window.
Oh, yeah, running leap right through a window.
Yes, very much so. So she drops, again, from the second story down to the grass below. Got a little glass in her leg, but, generally okay. Everyone else,
I would say she pulled a shard out about 7 inches long.
Yeah, it was a big one. So Dexter Z and Lamb Man, who's really disgruntled because evidently Tiger Man was Lamb Man's brother. So he's like, "I'll take care of this myself." He's limping because he stepped on that giant nail. Aaron has snuck back into the house. Lamb Man tries to follow her, and she stabs him right in the head. Boom.
Yeah, that was pretty tricky. She was pretty tricky. She got bolted out of that front door and just ran right back, jumped in through a window. That was clever.
So now we're down 2 of the assailants. 2 of the masked homies are laying dead. We still got crazy. Who we got? Foxman and Dexter and Z, right? So now the one lone masked man, Foxhead, chases her, hears noises down in the basement, goes down in the basement. She has rigged some kind of crazy camera thing to keep flashing.
Yeah.
And while he's distracted, she beats him to death. I don't know, it was a brick or a log or something. Kills him.
Her arms are the size of my index finger, but she is just wailing on people.
Yeah, she's Twiggy. That's a dated reference. Anywho.
I think my mother, if she listens to this podcast,
she'll appreciate that. So she goes upstairs and starts fighting with Z, fighting with Dexter. Boom, boom, boom. She hits Dexter with the blender. See, it's a callback. It's Chekhov's blender. If you show a blender in the first scene, you got to bring it back in the last scene.
What? And what is that?
You've heard of Chekhov's blender before.
I have never heard of such a thing.
Look it up.
What the hell? Are you telling our audience to look it up? You're going to have to tell me.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, I was a theater major.
Oh, Lord. I remember those size 12 tap shoes.
That's correct. Very good. Anton Chekhov was a famous Russian playwright. He wrote such things as The Cherry Orchard, as I'm sure you've read.
No.
He was often quoted as saying, if you show a gun in the first act, you have to use the gun in the third act. It was called Chekhov's gun. But
okay, so you're just reaching for it. Is that what you're saying? You showed a blender, so
I think it's appropriate. Okay, I think it's appropriate. So
I wrote down that it doesn't seem an actually effective thing because I own a blender, and I really don't think the base of the blender is going to do a damn thing.
Is it a Cuisinart? I rest my case.
Shut your mouth. She's already removed the part with the blades.
No, she hasn't.
She busted him on the head with it.
She hit him with the whole thing, and the top of the blender snapped off, and then she turned it upside down, so it was still like part of the blender. And she sticks it on the top of his head. Okay,
I'm gonna have to get nitty gritty on this. I have a blender. If you just pick it by the base, the top's just gonna fall off.
Look,
we're not welded to the base.
It is not. We're not doing Mythbusters on this. We'll have to take their. Okay, and then she turns around and kills Z with a steak knife. So, house is empty. Everyone's dead. She's laying there next to Dexter. Dexter's phone starts ringing. So she answers it, and she just listens. She doesn't say anything. Smash cut to spoiler.
Oh yeah,
Crispian, who bailed a while ago to quote unquote get help, is like, hey, Dexter, sorry I had to leave, man. You know I'm a pacifist. Did everything work out all right? Everything cool? Is everyone dead?
Now it is all relieved. The Menendez brothers killed their family for the inheritance.
Yep.
Now, first of all, Crispian or Crispin?
It's Crispian. It's Crispin meets Caspian.
It's not Crispin Glover.
It is not Crispin Glover. It is not Prince Caspian. It is something horribly in between.
Is it a real name? Did they just make that up?
I told you. This is how they do. This is how they do. When you have a character named Z, anything's possible at this stage of the game.
The blender kind of reminded me a little Evil Dead. It was a little Evil Dead-y. There's a little bit of homages to these different things. I know you're going to tell the ending, but I got to jump in before I forget.
Jump in.
There are little homages to different movies that I saw while I was watching this, including our next movie, The Shining, where Aaron's in the bathroom hiding, and the axe is going through it, and she's full Shelley Duvall.
Yep.
And the dude's coming through the bathroom wall. It was a homage to The Shining. I was like, boom, Shining.
Well, it's like you said. It's like I haven't seen a blender used like that since Gremlins.
Yeah.
And that's a standard. It's standard operating procedure. So yeah, they were definitely going for some homages. They were definitely going for kind of a black comedy aspect to the craziness. So Crispian walks through the door.
I know. Hang on. Let me say, it's got all these. It's like 4 different movies sewn together. So it's intense at first. It goes to camp. Then it's a switcheroo, and then it's a go ahead.
So he walks in and says, "No, baby. Oh, you weren't supposed to die. You were supposed to be the witness." So that people would say like, oh, well, she's got a clean criminal record. She's a reliable witness that these deranged psychos came in and killed everybody. But clearly not everybody. They only killed a few people and left. I don't know what their plan was, what their story was. No. You know what I'm saying? It's like...
Yeah, they're like, it couldn't be Z. No one would believe Z. You had to be the one who survived.
Exactly. Even though crazy Tigerhead tried to kill her
multiple times.
Yeah, there were people trying to kill her. So she does not believe it. And he says, I'll give you $500,000. That'll take care of your student loans. Or I go to jail. You know, what do you... And so she stabs him, kills him. Yay, hero wins.
Yes, and then...
Blam! A police officer was leaning in one of the windows.
Not in the living dead.
arrives just in time to see her stab that homie. So he shoots her, doesn't kill her, shoots her in like the shoulder or something. Runs out to call for backup and then walks through the front door. Now, earlier in the movie, she rigged up a crazy axe trap on the front door in case one of the masked assailants arrived on the scene. Of course, no one goes through the front door. Everyone's going out of their way to go through windows at this stage of the game, except for old Barney Fife, who now, to her credit, she's like, no. I'm trying to do my Australian accent. No, don't do it, mate. Something like that.
A dingo ate my baby.
That's exactly right. So it ends with the police officer arriving on the scene, taking a battle axe to the forehead. Ball game. So That's it. So this was on our list of one of those movies that you had to see. And I have to say, I kind of enjoyed it. I had a lot of critiques. I had a lot of complaints. I had a lot of questions. But overall, not a bad film, in my opinion. Give me the lowdown.
It's all right. It was no Babadook, I'll tell you that.
No, that is true.
I was annoyed. It was like it was to me. It was like trying to be all these different things at different times. I was like, what's happening here? I mean, the first half I really didn't enjoy, and then when there was a twist, when we realized that the brothers are there, then it was kind of then I kind of enjoyed it a little bit better, and then I started seeing more of they're grabbing from these different movies. Like when she gets shot, that's clearly right of Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
Where they shoot the hero, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of enjoyed it. It was like boom, boom, boom. But otherwise, I don't think I need to see it again. Have I seen worse? Faux show.
Here's a question. Unanswerable question. Why were they just using garden tools and crossbows to kill people?
Yeah. I don't understand. Why didn't they just round everybody up and just shoot them?
Right.
I mean,
right.
These are the things that would break a good movie for me.
Moment you break it down by logic, why are they wearing crazy animal masks that have no peripheral vision? The lime mask literally had these little tiny slits that they had to look through. It's like, why are they doing all this stuff? Why are they writing "You're next"? There's no reason to do that. No one on earth would do it this way. If you're like, I'm going to pull a Menendez, you do the way the Menendezes do it. Mom and dad are watching the 10 o'clock nightly news. You walk in there and just handle your biz. You don't pay 3 guys to put on animal masks and get, an axe and a machete and say, do it this way for some horrible reason.
And how is he shooting the crossbow with tiny slits in his eyes and be at absolute dead aim?
Well, he was in the service.
How are they running in full tactical in the service? They make you wear goat masks? What is that?
Maybe he was in the service industry.
At Guantanamo?
Yes.
What is that? The service industry.
Who knows?
At full tactical gear, running around, nobody's sweating. You can't breathe because you're wearing a stupid mask.
No, makes no sense.
Even when they're bowing down to look at the dead brother, and the mask is,
So you give it a thumbs down?
I give it a out of 5. I give it a 3. 3.5. How about a 3.5?
Okay,
is that better?
I'd agree with that. And I mean, it's definitely not like you're or like literally the movie's over and you're still like looking at the shadows, going, "What's up with this?" When I turned this off, I was done. I was ready to go to bed. No big deal.
And I wasn't like, whoa, that was amazing.
No, I wasn't either.
It was like,
it was fun.
It was all right.
I think it was fun. If you have a couple friends over, you want to have a decent enough time, some jump scares and stuff like that. Cool. It's not the best you've ever seen. It's not the worst you've ever seen. But like we said, it's kind of derivative or homage-y, if that's a word, of things you may have already seen.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with that. I mean, when it first started off, I'm like, oh, is this just going to be just a ripoff of Strangers? Well, now they're just going to torture people. I'm like, I was getting unsettled. I was like, I hate this shit. And then I was pleasantly surprised by the after, but yeah. Then you start adding logic to the mix,
right?
Because
you cannot do that
enough. You know what I mean? If you're going to be schlocky, you gotta fully lean into that.
I agree. Any last words?
No, I'm glad to be done with this.
Well, thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
I'm looking at my crazy notes. It's just complaining about lip gloss and stuff. So, I think most people would enjoy this.
I do too. It wasn't that violent as far as these kind of things go.
You didn't see the actual smushing up of the brain, which is good.
No. There's some squelching. Squelch.
I mean, there's a lot of action. It's definitely not boring. The first half is just weird. And I'm like, what? There's a lot of me just going, what? Why? What? But like I said, the second half of the movie is bang fire. So that's why it gets a 3.5.
We'll give it a 3.5. We're good to go. Well, that's the end of another glorious episode of the podcast That Wouldn't Die. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page at the podcast That Wouldn't Die. You can go on Twitter on Podcast TW Die on Twitter, something like that. We're currently on Spotify.
Ooh, I listened to it at work during lunch. I sound fantastic.
It's lovely. It is lovely. It's like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
And when are we going to be on iTunes?
All these things are supposed to be occurring within the next couple of days.
Do they notify you? We're new to this whole podcasty thingy.
I just check. I read about it. I double check. Anyway, when I know, everyone else will know. So go to those sites, like, follow, subscribe, spread the word, tell your friends, tell your enemies. If there's a stranger on the street, hopefully not a stranger wearing a Fox mask. Yeah. Don't talk to those guys.
I did go and put a pole in my sliding glass door after watching all these movies so the strangers don't come in through the back.
Good move. Anywho, well, thank you for joining us.
Ciao. Sleep well.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.